morning everyone, it's Naomi from Willow and Fink. I just thought I'd pop on today and show you just quickly how easy it is to actually colour the compound that you're using when you're doing your raised stenciling. As you know, I'm a bit of a crazy raised stenciler sometimes and I do all sorts of things. And one of the questions that I've seen sort of in my internet Facebook visits is how to colour compound, and it's really quite simple. Now some of the benefits outweigh, there's pros and cons. So this is one that I did earlier, and this one wasn't with coloured compound. This was just white compound, and I'll show you in a minute why sometimes it's better to colour your compound and sometimes it isn't. For a project this big, I wouldn't colour the compound, mainly sort of like the backing, as you can see, has been compounded. But definitely for the raised stencil section of it, it is handy to colour. And one of the reasons I'll tell you why is because if your stencil was to chip, the colour, this is just some compound that I've coloured and I've broken in half, you will see that the colour is all the way through. So if your your raised stencil was to actually chip for whatever reason, you're not going to have to do a touch-up job because you will notice the chip, depending on how big it is obviously, but you won't notice the colour difference because it's actually been coloured all the way through. Whereas this is one that's just a white one that I've painted, and you'll see that if I was to chip it, you're going to be able to see the white in the compound. So what you would need to do is either learn to live with it or repaint it or recolor it. Another handy thing is if you are colouring your compound all the way through, if you needed to sand, so this one here, if we were to sand it, you would just see the green all the way through. But if we have this one and we were to, give it a bit of a rub, that's not but you'll be able to see that it's starting to come through. So that's one of the reasons why it is sometimes more helpful to colour the compound. The only downside would be is that you have to make sure that you mix enough compound. If you just have the white, and then you colour it and you've run out, it's going to be very hard to match the colours if you need to mix some more. And on the other side of it too is if you mix too much, you are then going to have leftover coloured compound. So what you can do is save it. If you're going to use it for another project, you could put it in a container or one of those little Ziploc bag things, and just save it for another day, and then you may just have this little stash of coloured compounds everywhere, which would be handy for small projects or touch-up jobs. So definitely if you're doing a large project, the colouring of the compound, that's something that you're going to have to weigh up, because if you do run out halfway through or just towards the end, just trying to get the colour match. I mean, if it's not going to be that much of a difference, if you are doing lots of different colours, it probably isn't going to be as noticeable, but if it's just one blanket colour, you will see it. So without any more talking, I will show you how to colour compound, and it is super easy, so don't be afraid. I'll just lower this camera down and I will show it to you just a moment. Okay, so I've just got my mat here and I've just got a bit of compound. I'm just using this multi-purpose filler, nothing overly exciting. Just open it up. So all you do is you just get some filler, you put it onto your mat. Okay, so it's as simple as that. However much you need or how much you think you're going to need. Okay, pop that back in. Just going to give my blade my palette knife a bit of a clean. So, and I've got some paint here. And this is just a chalk paint. Actually, no, sorry, this one is a hybrid mineral and clay paint. But you just scoop out some paint on your palette knife and you just drizzle it onto your compound, and you just mix it through. So you just give it a good old mixeroonie. So there's nothing, so just on a mat, and you just need to mix it until the colour is consistent. Okay, so it's not quite consistent yet. I mean, if you're going for a marbled look, that's fine. But if you're going for a consistent look, see that's consistent now. I've put a bit of something in it. So there we go, so that's consistent now. And then if I was to cut that in half, you would see, or spread it out, that that's the mat underneath there. You would just see that it is consistent all the way through. So there we go. So we can bring it up. We can spread it out. This colour is going to be consistent all the way through. When it comes to actually, okay, I'll turn that up. Okay, so when it comes to colouring your compound, oops, I'll just try and get that camera up a bit, sorry about that. When it comes to colouring compound, my favourite colouring to use is a chalk style paint. As I said, this one was a clay mineral hybrid. Oh, hi Christy, thanks for joining me. Today I'm just talking about how to colour the compounds. I think you've probably just missed that. So generally I like to use a chalky style paint to colour the compound. You can use acrylic paints, you know, just like the ones that come in the tube, or you could use a little bit of house paint if you wanted to, just to mix in with your compound. But I've just found, for me, the chalk style paints mix best with the compound, and because the compound's like plaster based, so then the chalky style paints sometimes have like plaster or calcium in them, which makes it blend a little bit better. Also dries a little bit faster. If you add too much colour to your compound mix and it's gone a little bit watery, you can just let it sit for a couple of minutes and just let it thicken and dry. Or alternatively, you could sprinkle a little bit of very, very fine plaster into it, or a little bit of talcum powder just to dry it, just that little bit. I do not recommend using corn flour or any kind of food products, because they are designed to disintegrate, and over time the last thing you want is for your craft or your artwork to disintegrate because the food has perished. So I think that's all that I really needed to come on and show you today. For those that didn't miss the mixing, I just mixed some compound with some paint. As you can see, the colour is consistent all the way through. So that way, if you were to chip your artwork, or if you had to sand it down for whatever reason, you're not going to see the white plaster shining through. So that's just about everything that I needed to teach you today. It was just a quick hello, because it's been a while, and just to show you how quick and easy it is to colour your compound, and why it's helpful in some instances and in other instances it's not. But as I said, my preferred colouring is a chalky style paint, but you can use acrylics, a little bit of house paint, possibly some inks, as long as they don't run. So you can get some pigmented inks. You could also get the powders. And I do have some milk paint, some powdered milk paint in the garage, but I must admit I have never actually coloured compound with it. So I really don't know how well it's going to hold up. That may be an experiment that I need to do. I have added milk paint to chalk paint before in an artwork that I did, and it did actually crack and flake the chalk paint, so I really don't know how well it will go in the compound, but as I said, that may be an experiment for another day, maybe this afternoon, who knows. So anyway, so I won't keep you any longer. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me and having a look at how to quickly colour your compound and some of the reasons why. So I will say thank you and have a good day, everyone. Okay, bye.